So look at the top political headlines, and joining us this morning from Washington is senior White House correspondent Selina Wang, and we are taking advantage of having our senior political correspondent Rachel Scott at the anchor desk with us this morning. So Rachel, let's go ahead and start with you, because that breaking news, there was the Pentagon purge overnight, multiple top officials at the Pentagon fired. How much of this, though, came as a surprise? Yeah,
not so much a surprise for people that have been taking the hints and the cues. Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, said as recently as November that he wanted to see C.Q. Brown gone, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. This is a reversal, though. Trump nominated C.Q. Brown to be the chief of staff for the Air Force back in 2020. Hegseth, though, questioning whether or not he even got his job simply because he is a black man. He made history in this role. And so we started to get some of the murmurs started to shuffle out throughout the Hill, because we started to see that a list was being passed around. His name was ultimately on the list. But a lot of people surprised by this. He's deeply qualified. And like I said, history-making position.
Yeah, a lot to watch there. And Selina, let's turn to you, because you've been talking to IRS workers laid off this week. Obviously, it is tax season right now. So could those layoffs impact the ability for the IRS to even process tax returns?
Well, Gio, unfortunately, the short answer here is that it could. Even though those thousands of fired IRS workers are not supposed to be directly involved in processing your tax returns, these jobs are all connected. And current and recently fired IRS workers tell me that this could cause disruptions and delays. And some lawmakers are even urging people to file your taxes as soon as possible to avoid any potential delays and getting your refund back as well. Now, another big issue here, though, is that the IRS was already dealing with a staffing shortage before all of these layoffs happened. So hundreds of billions of dollars in taxes go unpaid every year because of lax enforcement. So this could make that problem even worse. And just more generally, guys, I'm hearing from experts that it's just not a good idea to fire 6% of the IRS workforce right in the middle of tax season.
All right, so that's definitely something to watch. And Rachel, another story that you've been following for weeks now, despite some tight party line votes, these cabinet picks from President Trump are going through. They're being confirmed by the Senate. What's next in the process here?
Yeah, I will tell you guys, I was on Capitol Hill, and there were so many questions about whether or not there were going to be more Republicans opposing some of these cabinet nominees. In the end, it looks like pretty much every single one of President Donald Trump's picks has gotten through, yes, by some of the narrowest of margins. We saw that with Kash Patel, nominated for FBI director. Ultimately, now we're going to see on Wednesday the very first cabinet meeting. President Donald Trump, all of his cabinet nominees coming together at the White House.
All right, so we'll be watching that. And Selina, let's look at President Trump's policy towards Ukraine, because it looks like a complete reversal of support for President Zelensky.
Yeah, Gio, I mean, what we're witnessing here essentially is Trump rewriting the history of this war. The U.S. is making a complete 180 when it comes to our foreign policy. You have Trump making it clear here that the U.S. no longer wants to try and isolate Putin for invading and brutally attacking a sovereign nation. In fact, President Trump this week, he called Zelensky a dictator, even though he is a democratically elected leader, and he even falsely blamed Ukraine for the war starting. So Trump's comments here, they're still sending shockwaves around the world. And on top of that, you had American and Russian officials meeting in Saudi Arabia this week without Ukrainians at the table. This is sparking deep concern that this could lead to a deal that does not lead to lasting peace and does not lead to lasting security guarantees for Ukraine. But Trump's team, for their part, they believe that what the president is doing here is the only way to end a war that has dragged on for far too long, guys.
Selina Wang, Rachel Scott, we call you the political powerhouse team for a reason. Thank you both so much for that.